welcome back to the show. You know, we've heard a lot of incredible survival stories of people from Superstorm Sandy, and one of them was really gone viral. Mike Ian from Toms River, New Jersey, basically was swept by rushing water, swam for 3 hours, was fearing, basically fearing for his life, facing hypothermia. He walked into a neighbor's house to try to get warm. And he left a letter. Mike is joining us now as well as his neighbor, Christine. So, Christine, you evacuated, so you weren't in your house. No one was in your house. And Mike, you thought you could tough out the storm. You didn't think it was going to be that bad.
Yeah.
So, when you saw the water come, what was it like?
Well, at like 9:30, it was still. I only had like 3 feet of water in my house. I was still sitting down watching TV. I still had power, everything. About a half hour later, about 5 feet, 6 feet, power shut off. I got nervous. I called up my dad. I was like, "We're getting flooded, but it's not that bad yet." I called up my friend. I was like, "Listen, man, I'm a little nervous." I went outside, checked my car, and it was I couldn't drive it. So I went upstairs. I prayed for the best, and a few hours later, it was getting up to the second floor.
The water was rising to the second floor?
Yeah, within an hour. And I heard a big noise, and I looked out the window, and half the house was gone. So I wasn't thinking at the time. I tried to find my keys that were on the floor, but there's about 8 feet of water. So I went down and tried to find my keys, anything to hide in my car or something.
It's amazing in those moments.
Yeah.
You're not thinking straight, you know.
I wasn't thinking at all.
You didn't need your keys, obviously.
No, I didn't need them.
Right.
I didn't need anything.
Right.
And, you know, it came so high that I'm like, I think the whole house was going to go. Because since a big chunk of it left, I went out the front door, jumped out the front door. And then when the water was so high, I was just holding on to my car.
So you're in the water?
Yeah. And I made a phone call to my father saying that, I'm like, "Pops, I ain't gonna make it." I'm like, I ain't making this. I'm like, the water's at like 10 feet. I'm like, I'm holding on to the car for dear life. It was like the back windshield wiper, and then I lost contact with him, and there's an open lot next to my house, and it swept me all the way out to the bay, the current.
So you were actually taken by the current?
Yeah.
I mean, what is that like?
I was terrified. I was in the middle of nowhere.
It's dark outside.
Dark outside. There's no lights. I'm in a body of water. The things that were going through my mind, I can't even explain. I mean, I was seeing things out there. I mean, you don't realize how cold the water is until you're in it for at least a half hour.
And just, I mean, people don't realize how quickly this stuff happens. You know, you see it on TV, you think like, oh, you know, water's coming up, you hear a storm surge. It comes and
like
the house goes. I mean, I've seen this time and time again, and you're sitting watching TV 1 minute and, you know.
Within a half hour.
You're swimming in water thinking, oh my God, I could actually die.
Yeah.
You found your way to her house.
Yeah, I was trying to, every single time I went against the current, it pushed me more and more and more out. So I went against the waves. And I tried to get back to my house, and I ended up far. I mean, like 15, 20 houses away from me. And I finally got back on land. But now land is still 10 feet of water. And I'm hitting mailboxes, cars, stop signs. You can't see them. I'm getting hit like a pinball machine.
That's the other thing. There's all this stuff in the water. I mean, the storm has taken all this stuff with it.
Pieces of houses, like, in the middle of the street. I'm trying to climb on something. I try to get back to my house.
You must be freezing.
I'm freezing. I don't feel nothing. I'm trying to tread water at the same time and not try to drown.
So you see her house.
Yeah.
And you break into it.
Yeah. They had like a bench, a brick bench, and I was so tired at the time, I couldn't even lift it to put it through the glass. And I did it maybe 10, 15, 20 times, and it finally broke. And I was, you know, I reached in to lock, I crawled up the stairs, and I just took off my clothes, and try to find anything to put around me, because I thought I was done. I mean, my heartbeat was so slow.
And you wrote out a note.
Yes.
And you left the note
Yeah.
in the house. And I just want to read a little bit. This is the note that it went viral, it got put online. You wrote, "Whoever reads this, I'm in the dark as I'm writing this. I'm dying. I'm 28 years old. My name is Mike. I had to break into your house. I took blankets off the couch. I have hypothermia. I didn't take anything. A wave threw me out of my house down the block. I don't think I'm going to make it. The water outside is 10 feet deep. There's no rescue. Tell my dad I love him, and I tried getting out. His number is," and you say his number, his name is Tony. "I hope you can read this. I'm in the dark. Goodbye. I took a black jacket too. God Almighty help me." And then, how long did you stay at the house?
About 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
When you were writing this, I mean, what was going through your mind?
I kept on checking my pulse, kept on getting slower and slower, and my vision was going in and out, and I thought everything was gone from there. I don't even know, I don't remember, I haven't seen those notes, I don't remember those notes.
Really? You don't remember it?
I don't remember it. I don't remember too much. I just remember like bits and pieces.
And how did you realize he'd been in your house?
So we come home the next day. We walk up and we see that our door was bashed in. So we didn't know if maybe a floating dock had hit it, because there was, you know, pieces of wood everywhere, refrigerators, just random things, jet skis all over our front lawn. So we went in the house, and then we noticed that there was wet clothes on the floor that we didn't have there when we left. And then we looked at our sliding glass windows, and there was "Help Me" signs. So we knew that someone probably took shelter there. And then it wasn't until the next day I was cleaning up on the counter, and I came across those letters.
What did you think when you read it?
Just in complete shock. I immediately gave them to Steve, my boyfriend, and he called him. Well, he called the number there, which was his father's number. He spoke with his dad, and then his dad put him on the phone, and he was just so grateful that we weren't, you know, pressing charges or something ridiculous.
I was so worried, you know, you go in somebody's house, like when I went into their house, I was screaming, I'm like, is anybody in here? I'm like, I just broke in. Like, I don't want to be a creeper, you know? Like, I'm dying at the same time, but I don't break in people's houses, you know?
Yeah.
Naked wet guy shows up in your house. It's not exactly right.
No.
Right.
Yeah, we washed the towels immediately.
And how are you guys doing today? I mean, how's your house now?
Our first floor was completely flooded. You know, my dad's car was ruined. All of my stuff I had stored in the back room. I moved out recently from an apartment, so all of that was completely ruined. But our main floor of living was okay. Our bedrooms were okay. So, you know.
How are you doing? I mean, you're still shaking, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Still in shock. The house is...
Yeah, his house is completely done.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
And where are you living now?
I'm living in Bergen County,
And I mean,
Jersey.
have you talked to FEMA? Is there
I hope they help.
electricity?
I hope they help me out. I mean,
No, our street doesn't have electricity
yeah.
yet.
The street doesn't have electricity yet. And there's a lot of furniture damage in your house.
Yep.
And there's this odd now bond between you two.
Yeah.
You feel that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. You never really think, you know, your house would save someone's life. It's just a cool story.
Yeah.
When I seen them for the first time, I was like, oh my God. Like, thank
Yeah,
you
he
guys.
was just so concerned that we were going to be mad that he broke
Oh,
in.
it's like, thank you. Here's your.
We were like
I
so
still
happy
have
that he
the-
was
the
alive.
Jacket.
So.
I still had the jacket. I gave it back to them. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the only thing I got left. I'm sorry here. You know? I'm like,
Yeah, on our way here, we were like, we should have washed your clothes and brought them back to you.
I used the jacket as like a security blanket. It was that bad.
Wow. What's your advice for people? You know, when you hear about a storm coming and people say evacuate, would you, in the future, would you evacuate?
Get out. I wouldn't stay for anything. Even if it's rain, I'm getting the hell out of there. You know?
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
I think to his, you know, the fire trucks came around and they said it was a voluntary evacuation. So I don't know if they came back after we left and said it was mandatory. But
I'm stubborn. I was just
you know.
watching TV, and I probably didn't even hear them.
Well, even mandatory evacuation,
Yeah.
they don't force people out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's up to people to decide.
It's at your own risk.
Well, listen, I'm so glad you both survived, and that's the most important thing.
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and our friends at Pier 1, I wanted to help you out, so they're giving you $1,500 worth of furniture and stuff from Pier 1 that you can go and select.
Thank you.
Well, I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Incredible story. We'll be right back.